to me, having an impact in this country, in the US, as an African, it shows what you're able to do no matter where you are. You have to be that seed that grows no matter where you plant it. If you plant it here, grow here. If you go back home, grow there. But I think we've heard people say it's too tough in the US. I can succeed here.
Yeah.
But you're succeeding here, and we're building like this community of people, of African who have succeeded here. I think it kind of gives hope to those who are there doing the work there. We're doing our part here, and we can the things that we learn here can be useful to our countries as well.
Well, hello,
Hello.
people. Look at Huguette. Guys, I have a special treat for you. This is a sister of mine, Huguette, who is going to now introduce herself. We have a very, 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 exciting conversation coming for you. Huguette, please tell my people who I'm talking to this morning.
All right. Hi, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Huguette Essolat, and I'm originally from Burkina Faso. And I've been in the US for, I don't know how long anymore, since 2004, we want to say. And I live in Kansas, in the city of Olathe in Kansas. Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
See?
Okay.
I should have kept that for later.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. Kansas.
Yeah, that's a little about me. Yeah.
Huguette, 2004. I came same time. So very soon we'll hit 2 decades.
Yeah.
You've been here in the US. Tell me a little background about what you studied, where you studied, and what you do now.
All right. So of course, when I came to the US, I was in Boston. Went to Suffolk University, like you, I guess. Yeah. So I got a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in accounting and a minor in communication at the time. And I got a master's in accounting. Then I worked in Boston for a few years. So I was in Boston for 7 years in doing audit. I was in external audit for...
You were in auditing, yeah?
Yeah, for 3 years. Then I moved to Canada at some point.
That I knew.
Yes. So I was in Canada for about 2 years, and then I moved back to the States. And so I switched from external to now internal audit. So I do internal audit for my county here. So I'm an internal auditor for my county.
You work for the state now?
I work for the county, for Johnson County, where I live, yeah.
Lady, you're fully integrated into the American system. I love that. So let's go back to you living in Boston, went to school in Boston, started working in Boston. You're in accounting, you can, with accounting, you won't lose. And what took you to Canada?
It's very interesting. So when I, first off, the reason why I studied accounting, to be honest with you, is I graduated from high school and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now with my life? So then I was like, moving to Senegal for the first 2 years. I'm like, okay, I have 2 years to figure it out. So, because we're all doing the same thing for 2 years. But then when it came time to pick a major, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was good at accounting, and I was like, okay, let me just do accounting. So that's how I got in accounting. And as soon as I graduated, before I even graduated, I had a job offer. I was like, okay, this is looking good.
Yeah.
So I actually interned in my senior year because I had 2 offers. One company wanted me to start working full-time after my bachelor's degree. And the other one was like, how about you come in for an internship after you get your bachelor's degree, and then you go back and get your master's. In my mind, I was going to have a career in accounting, so I chose the second option. So I went for an internship and went back and got my master's in accounting, started working in public accounting, and hated it right away. Yes.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't for me. And I was like, maybe it's because it's the first year, give it another year. And it ended up being 3 years. And after that third year, I was done. I was working crazy hours. I didn't enjoy what I was doing. It's for some people, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Fair. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I don't advise that to anyone. At that time, I had permanent residence in Canada, and my sister lived and still lives there. So I quit my job and I moved to Canada. That's what I did. That's how I ended in Canada.
Well, hey, listen, you went closer to family. Okay.
Yes. So I moved there, and then it took a few months to kind of try to rethink what I wanted to do at that time, and ended up starting working for a bank there, doing something. I was doing credit risk analysis, which was fine, but I got bored within a couple of months because I thought it was the same thing over and over again. I got bored. So did that for almost 2 years, and then moved back to the States. And at that point,
you chose to come back to the United States.
I chose to come back. Because the truth is, it's really hard when you live for a long time in the U.S. and you move to Canada. It's different.
Yes.
Especially when you move to the Francophone part of it. It's kind of different. Yes. I didn't study there and all that, so it was kind of different. But so I moved back here, and I was like, what am I gonna do now? But to be honest, I was traumatized by my experience in audit, that I didn't want to hear audit anymore. So I kept getting job offers in audit, and I was like, I don't want to do it. But then I started digging more into it, and people kept telling me that external audit is different from internal audit. You may want to try internal audit. And then I started working in internal audit, and I was in Delaware at that time. So because I moved quite a bit, I was in Delaware.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
I started working internal audit. I was like, okay, this is not bad. This is kind of different from external. Because when as an external auditor, people definitely see you as the police. They don't want to deal with you. But when you're an internal auditor, you work for the company that you do audit for. So that was kind of different. So the dynamics were different.
I didn't know the difference. I didn't know the difference. I've worked for companies where every year they call it audit when the accountants come, and being in IT, I give them a secure desk and all that, and they're at the corner. And so they looked at like the enemy. I see. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
So your entire career, like from Suffolk, Boston, from your first internship to when you moved to Canada, to now being an auditor for your county, it's all been accounting. Do you love what you do? Okay, that's good to hear. Go ahead.
I think love is kind of a strong word for that.
Okay.
But
fair.
This is my profession. This is what I do, but I definitely don't think it's my calling or it's what I'm meant to do in this life, right? I don't identify myself with this job, right? It's I'm good at it. I do it, but I don't think this is something that I want to retire in. So if that's kind of clear.
Yeah. I see. That's interesting. Okay. So it's what you're trained in. Is what you know how to do very, very well. Basically, it's your expertise, but it has not gotten to that. You're not married to it. It's not what you want to retire in. It's not. You don't feel it's your calling.
No.
Do you know your calling yet? Do you?
I think. I mean that.
I want to know.
It's a very good question, and I think we all get to a point in life where this little child in you comes back to life, right? Because of course, as a grown-up, you think about all the responsibilities you have. If you have a spouse, if you have kids, you don't want to take all kinds of risk. But I told you, when after my 3 years, when I realized that external audit wasn't for me, that little child in me started coming back to life. And that's the child in you that you've been trying to silence for so long. So you start thinking about all those things that you used to like to do as a kid. And for me, it was a lot of reading and writing. but you never think about having writing as a career, right? But so I started thinking about, okay, how do I bring this child back to life without being like a burden to the rest of my family? I'm not going to be like, okay, I don't want to work anymore. I just want to sit home and write. And that's how I was like, maybe I need to start writing again. So I started with a blog, and then I went into and published a book. So this is something that I do that makes me happy, and it does make me like hate my job. But it's that little child in you that you need to bring back to life, because otherwise you cannot live like a fulfilled life. Yeah, so it's going to catch up with you.
I love how you put that. I love how you put that. We'll get to the book. I can't wait to hear about it. But here you are, you're in accounting, you're trained in accounting. You're doing it as a means to an end because you're so good at it. You know somebody will pay you to earn a living, right? Yeah. But you at some point knew that this is not what I want to be doing forever. This is what like you said, love is a strong word. This is not what I love so much that it's so you started looking for that thing that actually excites you. You thought about writing, and writing came in mind. You're like, most writers that I know, especially at the starting point, they struggle financially. Yes. I don't want to put that burden on myself and my family, so I'm going to keep doing this thing that pays me so enough to live and do this on the side. It's I want to commend you on first figuring it out and second actually doing it whilst you do this thing that pays you. How did you feel that very moment when you just put pen to paper, in this case, your fingers to a keyboard to write whilst you still go and do your public accounting? Internal accounting.
It was a good feeling. So, like I said, I started with this blog, and the reason why I started the blog is I realized that there's so much information out there that we don't know because either we're not connected to the right people or we're not reading the right books to learn about those stuff. So I was like, how can I help people? I'm helping myself while helping others as well. Like, how can I help people? Because I hear a lot of people say, I don't like to read. Reading is boring and all that. But there's so much information hidden in those books that we don't read. And to be honest with you, I think there are so many books that I read a couple of years ago that if I had read when I first moved to the States, I would have done things differently. I just didn't know about them. God. And nobody told me about them. So I was like, I'm going to start this blog on basically giving some practical tips to people to actually enjoy reading. So I will give, so that's how I started the blog. And when I started getting feedback from people, okay, I hated reading, but I like your tips that you're giving me, because I think if I'm able to put those tips in practice, I can get through a book and I can learn stuff. Yeah. So I started with the blog, and every time I hit that publish button, at first I was like, who am I to think that I can write and tell people what to do? You have that fear that comes in.
Yes.
But once I hit publish and I started getting feedback from people, I'm like, okay, this is helping some people. It doesn't matter if it's one, if it's two people that is helping. I need to keep doing it.
Every time I hit publish, I help someone.
Yes. So I started doing that. And it's building my confidence too. Because I'm telling you, once you spend so many years working in your profession and then you realize that this is not your calling, it can hit your self-esteem quite a bit. Yes. Because you're like, you can start thinking that I've wasted too much time. And I try not to fall in that trap of thinking that I've just wasted time and you have to start all over again. You never have to start all over. Everything that you've learned, you can use it. And I needed to get to that point when I'm like, no, these are not years that I've wasted. These are just years that I've learned things that I could use going forward.
I love that.
And but it feels great. And same thing, when I started, I thought about writing a children's book because, and this was a result of things that I was seeing back home, like talking about abuse, all the abuse that children go through. But people don't talk about it because they think it's so taboo. You cannot talk about it. Yes. And I'm like, this is not okay. How can I help?
Yes.
That's the way I always think about it. Like, how can I help? I'm not
Yes.
there, but how
Yes.
can I help? So I started writing those stories, and it was hard because as I was writing the stories, to be honest, I was thinking about all those kids who were going through that abuse and all that. But I made it so it's easy for parents to read and discuss with children, just so it's a conversation starter, basically. So you can talk to your child about it without it being like you're stealing their innocence from them, but you need to talk to them so they know if this happens, it's not okay. So when I started writing this book, yeah, it kind of
Let's not wait. Let's go straight to the book.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me about the book. Tell me what exactly. I mean, you already touched on it, but what made you think that, or what gave you enough confidence to finally put that together? Because show the book first so that people will know why.
Okay.
It's a sensitive
It is.
topic.
I don't know if
Yes.
you can. So we're talking about
I will link it.
private body parts.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know if you've seen it. Like, here it's not, people talk about it a lot. Like in school, they talk to children about it, but back home, it's kind of different. It's a subject that parents don't feel comfortable talking to the kids about. You can even grow up to like 17 years old without hearing your mom or dad talk to you about it, just because they feel like it's too sensitive and you shouldn't know about it. And the reason why most kids are being abused is because they don't even know that they're being abused. They don't know it's not okay for somebody to touch you somewhere. They don't know. They just don't know. So I'm like, okay, I want to write on this, but I don't want it to be like a shock to people or whatever. So I started writing the stories. And what I did is that I as I was writing, I had my son read it.
Yes.
My son is 7.
Yeah.
I had him read the stories, and I was trying to find one thing that I did towards the illustrations. I wanted somebody that was going to basically draw Black kids, because I wanted the kids back home to relate to the book.
Yes.
Because there's so many books here about it, but it's not, the kids don't look like our kids. But I wanted something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I started, and I had my son read it, and I had a few people read it, and I wanted to make sure that it was not like too much for the kids to take, and that you could just use it as a conversation starter, and just so they know what is private, what is okay, what is not okay. And that's how it all started.
It's fascinating that you experimented, if I can call it that, with your kid first. See how he feels about it. See how heavy you're going, or whether it should be, you should lighten up a little or whatever. But it's a sensitive topic that is accomplishing several goals as far as I can see it. From blogging to now writing something even more helpful. You're helping parents, you're helping kids. We're talking about physical abuse, right?
Yes.
Sexual abuse.
Yes.
And it's so rampant. It has no geographical location that you can pinpoint to that. It's everywhere. The reason why it's a touchy, sensitive subject is, our conservative communities that we come from, where everything sexual is so taboo. A parent will never ever talk to their kid about that, right?
Yes.
Don't let somebody older, don't let a relative, don't let somebody even trusted touch you in certain places they have no reason to, right? And if you teach that a kid at a young age, for them to see how odd it is for anybody to touch them in certain areas of their body, because at a very young age, we start teaching our kids. My oldest one is 4. What is a body part? Like ear, lip, mouth, back. So when you start teaching them that and start pointing at areas that if anybody touches them there, they should, like my wife has this song that she made with my son, don't touch my boom boom or something like that. Just created these words where the kid starts associating certain body parts with don't touch, right? And for you to write about that is bold. It's bold. as your first published book
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
bold, right?
I know. It was scary.
How impactful do you feel the book is, especially because you targeted home too?
Yeah. So, when I wrote it and self-published it, it's on Amazon and all that.
Yes. I will link it.
So when I went back home, like, was it 2 years ago? The year I actually published the book.
Yes.
And I had a copy of the book that I gave to a friend of mine.
Yes.
And it took it to this library that it goes to. This was in the Ivory Coast.
Yes.
And then the lady reached out to me. She happens to be somebody who she has a partnership with Nouveaux Horizons. It's like they're publishers. They're in Paris, and they work within the U.S. Embassy in Paris. And what they do, they usually take books from American authors, translate them into French, and then they will send them. They will distribute it in Francophone Africa and Haiti.
Right.
So the next thing I know, somebody from there reaches out to me, and they wanted to have the book in their children catalog. I didn't know where this was going. I was like, okay. The book, I already have a French version of the book, so it was easier for them. So I sent them a copy of the book, and they said, yeah, we like this. We think this is going to help the kids a lot. We signed a contract, and they started printing the books, and now they're in charge of distributing it in Francophone Africa and in Haiti, which is what I wanted, because it was too expensive for me to ship the books and all that. Now they take care of that part.
Yes.
And because they're like they get some funding from the State Department, so the books are very cheap. Like it's like 2,000 CFA.
Okay.
So people can afford it. So the books are very cheap for them. And that somebody. So now I have people from like the Ivory Coast, Benin, like reach out to me because they've seen copies of the book. And this lady, actually in the Ivory Coast, the one that I was mentioning earlier that has a library, she ordered like 500 copies from Nouveaux Horizons. And within, I think, 2 weeks, she had sold all of it.
Yes.
Because it started a discussion now that because parents are saying that they feel more comfortable talking to the kids about it. And
using the book as a tool.
But the toughest part for me really was all the testimonies that I got from some people that I know, some people that I grew up with, like that were telling me that this book kind of brought something back to life. Yes. Like a personal friend of mine, actually, after I don't know how many 20 years of friendship, it's now that I'm learning that she experienced abuse as a child.
Yes.
That's the part that is difficult, because now you're hearing people sharing their testimonies with you. Yes. Another guy that I know was like, well, I experienced this, but I didn't know it was abuse because nobody told me. It felt weird, but I didn't know it was abuse. Yes. So it's that part. I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm glad the conversation is going somewhere.
Yes.
And even if it's like 10 kids that will avoid abuse because of this book, I would have accomplished what I wanted. So I'm grateful.
Oh my God, it's just amazing that you put it that way, right? Yeah. Just like you have seen with friends and people that are older that are mentioning it, from boys to girls.
Yes.
Right? This abuse is rampant. In Africa, it's worse because, like here in the States, when somebody is caught as a pedophile, there's actually a map that shows exactly where you are. You're reporting where you are, where you live. In Africa, there was no system like that. Yes. It's actually somebody that lives at home. It's actually somebody you trust with the kids and stuff. So if parents find a way to soften that conversation that is very hard to have by having a colorful book, with names that kids can say, in letting them know, to make your child be comfortable to use that book and run to you and let you know, hey, like we have this red spot on the book about a place not to touch. Older person so-and-so touched me there. Then you can have that uncomfortable conversation of actually rescuing that kid early. So it's amazing where your mind took you as far as the first book you published. And I have to commend you on that impact. Let me bring this to stem to roots, okay?
Okay.
Here we want to have this conversation where, us daughters and sons for Africa that leave the continent for various reasons, education part of it, and then we're here, just like you. You're a professional here, and then we think about how can we impact Africa. Already we have a bucket of things you've done already for Africa, but did you think about your impact in Africa whilst you were here before the book? Was that even a thought?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm one of those people. So when I first moved here, for me it was I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna go back home.
A lot of us.
Right?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. And then you
Yes.
start working, and then life happens. And I don't believe that you have to be there to have an impact, right? You can, if you're able to be there, that's fine. But I don't think you have to be there. And to me, having an impact in this country, in the US, as an African, it shows what you're able to do no matter where you are. You have to be that seed that grows no matter where you plant it. If you plant it here, grow here. If you go back home, grow there. But I think we've heard people say it's too tough in the US. I can succeed here.
Yeah.
But you succeeding here, and we're building like this community of people, of African who have succeeded here. I think it kind of gives hope to those who are there doing the work there. We're doing our part here, and we can the things that we learn here can be useful to our countries as well. So I think I'm not married to a country or anything, but
Yes.
but I try to grow no matter where I'm planted. I think that's very important. So you're not like limiting yourself by geographical location. Because I'm the US, I cannot do things that I would have done if I'm in Africa.
Yes.
Or you don't say, well, if I'm in Africa, I cannot do this or do that, right?
Yes.
So I think, yes, I definitely thought about going back at some point. And it's not even that. If the opportunity comes, maybe I'll go back.
Yes.
But for now, I'm here.
Yes.
But how can I contribute to the development of this continent while being here?
Without being there in person. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think we can all do our part. It doesn't matter how small it is. Sometimes we think too big, and that's why we're afraid of doing things. Right?
Come back to that again. Speak on that again. Sometimes we think our impact should be so grand, it should shake the continent. And so we keep waiting.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. If it does, even if it's a child that you're helping go to school, you're paying the tuition for the kid to go to school. You don't know who that kid will become in a few years.
Wow.
You can change an entire family by helping a child one day, right? It doesn't have to be like, don't think millions, billions to help Africa. No, just start doing it small.
You're making a lot of people that have left the continent and have this guilt, because we've been having this conversation. For some it's guilt, for some it's like, I can't speak on Africa because I'm not there, so it wouldn't be fair. But are you making somebody feel better right now? Hey, even if your impact is picking a kid who otherwise would have struggled to pay for school, and you help them through education, the impact you will have in that kid's life, and maybe even a bigger community because of what that kid will be, is something you don't know. So just, no matter how small, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
I can't believe we're halfway. I can't believe there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I want us to slow it down, take a break, do this thing, here at STEM to Roots we call, teach me something you think I don't know. All right, because we just want to learn. We just want to lighten it up a little bit. If you have something that you want to say that, I don't think Mike knows this, please throw it at me. And if I don't know it, I'll admit to it. Please.
Okay. All right.
You got something for me?
Well, since tomorrow is Mother's Day in North America,
yes.
Did you know?
Thank you for reminding me.
Don't forget that.
Okay.
Did you know that last Sunday, so the first Sunday of May, is Bereaved Mother's Day? So we think about all those moms who have lost a kid, no matter what the reason is. So the first Sunday in May is Bereaved Mother Day. Whether it was like a miscarriage or you had a kid that you lost.
Oh my God.
The first Sunday is in May, we think about those moms. And there are a lot of this is another thing, miscarriage of things that people don't talk about usually, but there are a lot of people out there. So yes, that was last Sunday. Did you know that?
That's big. That's big for you to say. I had no idea. And the amount of people that, whether it's miscarriage, whether it's losing somebody, because when you started saying that, when you started saying it, I started thinking, oh, maybe it's not that big because, obviously it's a woman that lost a child. But I didn't think about miscarriage.
Yeah. Miscarriage, stillbirth, all that. So it's International Bereaved Mother Day, the first Sunday in May. So I think it's something that a lot of people don't know because we're so focused on Mother's Day.
Yes.
But I think,
And it's equally as important, if not more.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Wow. You're going to teach a lot of people. This is good information. Thank you again. I knew you'll come up with something that wow. That's a big one. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. Let's get back to it. I want to. This is STEM to Roots. I want to talk about Africa.
Yeah.